Hello, my name is Anne-Marie McNamara, and I'm here to talk about the book I wrote and to talk to you a little bit about what I'm doing. The name of my book is Earth Whisperers, the White Chick from Tacoma, chick/woman. And I'm going to be reading a few stories to you, 2 stories, talking to you about vibrational energy and what that means in terms of sound. And the other thing I want to talk to you about is an experience I had when I was working the psychic line. It felt like both of those stories would be interesting to many people. Hi Maya, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're here. And anybody else who's here, let me know. Oh, Suze is here. Okay, great. Here we go. So, I wanted to point out the picture behind me. The picture behind me is a spirit painting. Basically, a spirit painting are paintings that you channel. And it's the coolest thing. Hi, Kathleen. I always get emotional. It's so crazy. Anyway, it's so me. But anyway, is my guardian angel. And my guardian angel doesn't have wings, but if you notice, my guardian angel is extremely grounded. And if anyone knows me, they know I can totally get in my head and spin. So this guardian angel has been the best for me. And so I wanted to share, the name of my guardian angel is Mamauteron. And you probably won't find this person in any books, but that's the way it goes. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to be talking about today. And the two things that I'm going to be focusing on is vibration, sound healing. There's a story about how I ended up getting involved in this in the book. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is my experience working the psychic line. And I have a story about that. As many of you might know, today is my dad's birthday. He would have been 100. And some of you may have known my dad. You may not be watching now, but you watch later, and you know he was quite the character in his own way. And I am my father's daughter in many ways. And what was so funny, and this is just an aside, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning with an agenda. This is the stories you should do. This is what you should talk about today, da-da-da-da. And what was so funny to me is after I got my paper written and all that, it's like I woke up out of a dream. I went back to bed, and as I went back to bed about 3:30, I started laughing to myself because I thought, that's exactly my dad. Come on now, get your organization. And I just started laughing like, okay, fine, Dad, I got it done. See? Here's my little piece of paper, you guys, to keep me on track. So I hope you're laughing a little bit. I think we're going to get started. So this is my book. And the cover is a living mandala. And what I mean by a living mandala is that this particular picture I've had for 20 years, a painting that I've been painting for as my mood changes. And so right now it actually doesn't look like this, but this is because it's movable. It's a movable mandala, and I'm hoping to have it till I die. It's just so cool, but it's a very sacred painting to me, and I'm sharing that with people. And so the first story I'm going to read is in honor of my father, the psychic one, because it pertains to that. I'm going to give you a little background. I became involved in the psychic line through another psychic friend. Just one sec. It looks, oh no, there we're good. The sun came out. What do you know? In the Northwest, who would have thought? But anyway, and I started working there for a few months. So this is the story, one of the stories that I wanted to share with people. The story starts with a caller saying, What happened to my brother? Seemed like an innocent question, right? It was not. Boy, was it not. It was a test, and she knew it. What happened to him? So I raised my vibration and turned into the energy. I felt all his pain. He had been brutally murdered. As I remember, he had been grabbed from behind and repeatedly stabbed. He did not want to die, and his realization of his potential death left him screaming in fear, anger, and beyond rage. This was not how he thought his life would end. I believe he also knew the attacker and felt betrayed. The physical pain was unbearable. Honestly, I do not remember if I was able to clear his path to go to a higher vibration. The lesson for me was to protect myself and my own energy field from now on. Feeling all his pain, both emotionally and physically, was horrible. I remembered it to this day, and it was a great reminder to be cautious and to put yourself in the protection of white light or golden light of love. When I spoke to the caller about her brother's death, she affirmed that yes, he had died a violent death. She was almost matter of fact. At the time, I thought it was cold-hearted of her not to warn me, and maybe she did not realize the consequences of her request. She did not seem upset with my horrible experience. However, now I know that personal trauma can create an unawareness of another person's safety. After the phone call ended, I disconnected from the psychic line and cleared my energy field as best I could. As I write this now, it occurs to me it was really wonderful that she called. The two siblings connected, and both had a little more peace in being able to communicate with each other. Once his pain was cleared, he could let his sister know he was ready to move forward in his soul's life. She was able to share his experience of receiving his own grace through love to move forward towards the light. I like to think it created a happiness and sadness for both of them. One of the things that people may or may not know is that people on the other side, in Irish they call it the thin veil, often have a doorway to get in easier if it is their birthday or the day they died. People have said that the reason that happens, or my teachers told me that it's because they know the way, they know the route. Other holidays may also play into being, but the best time really is the birth date and the day they died. One of the things that I learned in academia in studying gerontology was that people often think loved ones are near to them and they hear their voice and all that. And of course, some people feel that that is just illusionary and a great way to make people feel better about their loss. Well, I'm here to tell you that is just not true. They are around, they want you to be there, and they're there to support you, not with the physical body, but with their spiritual or soulful essence. One of the things that people sometimes think is when people die and they talk about the white light, that it's all good. All you have to do is now be with God. And in the religion I was raised in, they say pray for the departed. And that's really true, because this is the problem. As you can tell by the story, or I don't know if it's a problem, but as you can tell by the story, that poor man was stuck. His emotions were stuck. People sometimes complain about being human, but with a human body, we have the capabilities to really clear our thoughts, our thinking, our emotions, and we can push through them. And we learn through therapy and all kinds of things that emotions are not bottomless. But what if these thoughts then are attached to our essence, like little pieces of paper? Well, that's a lot harder when you have no vehicle to lift those emotions off. So that's why prayer helps a lot. It raises the spirit's vibration, And when they raise the vibration, the heaviness of the emotion disintegrates. So, I just want to welcome everybody and thank you for being here. It's great. I really appreciate it. Some of you know that I grew up in Tacoma, hence the title. The title is The White Chick from Tacoma. When I started doing energy work about 30 years ago, a lot of people were confused because they wanted me to be more. They wanted me to be more exotic. And I'm not exotic. Well, maybe I am to somebody in Germany, but here I'm from Tacoma, and and I live in Seattle now, but I grew up in Tacoma, so there you go, and that's the way it is. The second, and I love it, the second story is my life-changing story, and one of the reasons I like to work with 11 is because that was the designated number that was given to me many years ago. One of the things is this event that happened to me. In the book, I call it the life-changing event. It was on November 11th, 1985. My life changed. I was a single mom with an amazing teenager. My job was a juvenile probation counselor for King County Youth Services. I was the felon intake worker for a unit and mostly worked with assault cases. My job was to interview the youth and their families, read their police reports, gather information to write a report, and a recommendation to the judge. Most people commented how interesting my job must be. Years later, I can appreciate why they said that, but daily reading of police reports takes its toll on one's mind. My friend Kathy and I were treating ourselves to a latte on November 11th. It was a holiday and we were vacationing for a couple hours. We had become acquainted through my son and his child's daycare. We were both single parents, divorced, raising our families, and attending the University of Washington. Later, we both had demanding careers. We took vacations when we could. I had just finished talking about my son, and Kathy was starting to talk about one of her sons. As I listened, I felt a vibrational current enter the top of my head and go through my body. The current traveled down through both hands and the glass coffee mug I had in my hands. The cup shattered into teeny pieces. The contents was 1/3 full of lukewarm latte. My favorite gray corduroy pants were drenched in light brown liquid. When I looked at my hands, expecting to see blood, I was shocked to see that there was no cuts on my hands. As I looked down at the mess, I remembered the Memorex commercial about how the sound was so good and the quality of cassette tape so good it would break a wine glass in teeny pieces when the opera singer hit the high note. It was our first clue. Kathy and I were there stunned. What just happened? One of the owners of the coffee shop ran over and apologized profusely. He insisted on making me another latte. Of course, I accepted. After all, a gal cannot refuse a free latte. I am from Seattle. I laughed when I saw my replacement latte brought to me in a styrofoam cup. The owner was not taking any chances. He had already lost one glass cup. As Kathy and I tried to sort out what had happened, the discussion turned to the idea that this was a paranormal message. Kathy was sure it was some sort of message. I had no idea what it was, how to decipher it. As it happened, a young man seated in the next table joined in our discussion. The universe, being friendly, provided us with some answers. He told us recently he had been studying paranormal abilities at John F. Kennedy University of San Francisco, California. Naturally, I'd never heard of the school, but Kathy had. She said one of her sisters had done some research about schools with courses in paranormal, and she had mentioned to Kathy this was an excellent program. The young man was pleased to hear she had heard of his school. He proceeded to say that he was sure the glass breaking was some sort of paranormal sign, encouraged me to find a reputable psychic in the area. Now we were stuck. Kathy and I thought about who might know a psychic reader in the area. Kathy decided on a South African friend, Susan, might. She did not, but told us of another mutual friend, Ellen Wood. Ellen was very helpful and directed me to Jean. Jean was a psychic and a healer. That particular incident happened on 11/11/11, and it propelled me to move forward with my work. Some of you understand vibrational sound, and some of you, this is a new concept. Although many of us, all of us, enjoy music, and we also recognize that music definitely influences our moods. And so what I'm going to do is bring in a bowl and just show you. This is a Tibetan bowl. It's probably 75 years old. The interesting things about Tibetan bowls is that it is set with different minerals. Different bowls are made at different times, and the bowls are also set, they look where the stars and the planets are located, because one of the reasons they want to do that is to kind of connect the vibrational sound with the universe, which I think is amazing that they can do that. It's very scientific, and it's just a cool reminder that we're all connected. Anyway, here's one of my bowls. And here's another one. My sister Judy gave me this one. It was the first bowl I got, and it's about 100, 125 years old. Notice that it's got a deeper tone. What I would like people to do is just close their eyes for a sec and just listen to that sound. And I don't talk about this in the book, but I'm feeling like it would be a good thing to do. One of the things that's good too is using your own voice for sound healing. And you can do that by just kind of getting in touch with what's going on with you, and then moving forward with that. So an example would be, those are kind of high notes. I'm going to go a little lower. That tone, for me, hit me in my solar plex area, my stomach area. And it's kind of lifted the energy, because it's a little nervous to do this, to tell you the truth. But I'm loving it. It's really fun, too. There's a few McNamara's on here, and I'm appreciating it. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to do was to let you know that we are going to have a local launch. I talked to the art gallery director in Magnuson Park, and she kindly is going to sponsor or allow me to have the gallery to thanks, Suze. Anyway, to have a local book launch where I will be there doing some readings. I might have some paintings there. I'm not sure yet. What else? It'll just be fun. It'll just be fun to have kind of a party. And the date is March 23rd, which is a Thursday, and it'll be from 5 to 7 at Magnuson Park. And it's at Magnuson Park, and I will list the actual address, but it's Building 30, and it's where I have my art studio. I will have my art studio open too, just so people can see it if they haven't seen it before. And also I wanted to shout out for a couple things. One, my friend Sue helped me get my clothes together and my jewelry. You know how, isn't this cool how she kind of combines these things? I never would have thought of that. But see, there's a little bit of the pink and this, and so that's all really great. And her husband's the one that helped me with my book, and he's been a gem. It's like, he listens to me, he's just so helpful. And he really pushed to get my book ready so I could have this launch on March 7th, because I wanted it from my dad. So I'm just, there's been a couple people that have been asking about where the Amazon link is for the UK, and I just looked down and Joe has put that on this FaceTime live, so that's all good. And what else? Does anybody have any questions? How about that? Oh, and you can get my book on Amazon. It's in eBay, and it is also eBay. I keep doing that. ebook. eBay is something different. That's where I got this bowl right here, eBay. But anyway, you can get this book on an ebook or a printed version. And if you like the book, I would love for you to write me a review. And I didn't bring it over, but I'm going to show you one more thing. And you can see this cute little outfit. Isn't this cute? Yes. Okay, I'll be right back. I also have this little marketing thing going where I'm not putting out, there's no extra pictures of some of my work. And so what I'm doing is I am going to, you can go to my website, pay $1. How's that for marketing? And see some of the pictures. But what I thought you guys might enjoy seeing is some of these crazy little art things that I do. So this one is an outer space person. And I think you can see it okay. It's just kind of, it's got cute little eyes, and it's just fun. It's not very big. And this one, I consider an animal spirit ghost kind of thing. I think of it as a goat, but it's not clear to me it really is a goat. The more I looked at it, it might be a moose for all I know. But the essence of it is kind of shifts around anyway. So you're not exactly going to see the exact replica because of the fluidity of the spirit people. So there you go. Thank you, Joe, for listing all those. That's fabulous. And I think we're done. And thank you all for being here. It's been terrific. And take care. Bye. Okay, there we go. Boom. Is it done?